Today's video, I'm going to kind of take you through mine and Beckett's day or afternoon and share with you some of the products that I have absolutely loved as a first-time mom, and I'm about 6 weeks postpartum. But first, we're going to make an afternoon iced coffee because that just sounds wonderful. And he's been a little bit fussy this morning. He's been in his solly wrap, so he did eventually take a nap, but he has just wanted to be on me all morning. Alright, so he's already getting fussy again, which means I'm gonna go ahead and share with you one of the first products, and that's my solly wrap. This thing has taken quite a bit of time for me to like really get the hang of, but once you get the hang of it, I swear it is one of the best things ever. Every time I've put him in this wrap, he has fallen asleep almost immediately, so it's super soft. They are a little bit more pricey, but I feel like for newborns, they're amazing, and I would like to invest in another carrier when he gets a little bit bigger, but this one has been so amazing once I've gotten the hang of it. I have probably watched 100 videos online about how to wrap these things, and I think there's different ways that you can wrap it. I always do just the classic carry, but this is not a tutorial because I'm definitely not an expert. I do like it better when I'm wearing a tighter top. There's not as much fabric. The key is getting it nice and tight. If it's not tight enough, then they don't feel very secure. So this part right here where you're making the X to tie across your back or to tie it around, you've got to get it nice and tight right there is the trick that I have learned. Before I popped him in his solly wrap, I did go and change him really quick. So right here I'll insert, we also love our peanut changer. It's the Kikuru peanut changer, and it is on the pricier side, but I would say it's 100% worth it. I would buy it. I actually got that one as a shower gift, but I would go back and buy that one. That was actually one of Matt's top favorites too, when we bought the little liners that go on top just to help keep it clean, and then we pop them into the washing machine when we do like a load of towels or burp cloths or something. It also just helps it not to be as cold when I'm changing him. He does, I think, prefer to have the liner. I've done both, and I think he likes the liner better. And since I've just changed him, I was also going to share with you another favorite of mine are the Magnetic Me onesies. He sleeps in these, but they also have clothing as well. But these just have the little magnets, and so it just makes it super easy to change them. We have a few. They're pretty pricey, but I would say that they're worth it. This one I just took him out of, but this is just a onesie, and it's actually the Cloud Island brand from Target, which feels kind of like the little sleepy pajamas, which also love those. But anything with a double zipper is amazing. Anything that has a ton of buttons is super annoying. At least I have found them to be. And then another little, this is actually a recent purchase, Jeffrey's baby socks. To me, they almost feel like an in-between of like a sock and a booty, and they stay up really, really well on his feet. And while we're in the nursery, something else that we keep in here are these little copper and pearl burp cloths. I find these to be the very best, and the reason I like them is because they're really wide. We have some others like these. This one's Gerber, and it's not as wide, and I feel like this one just stays better on my shoulder if that's how I'm burping him. So for me, I've really, really liked the copper and pearl ones over like just like this one's from Gerber. I think this one, yeah. This one's Cloud Island, so Target. And honestly, a lot of these are from the thrift store. My mom thrifted a ton of our burp cloths from the thrift store. She's like an amazing thrifter. I wish that I had her skill. I'm so glad he's finally napping. He's been so sleepy, but he's been fighting sleep like all morning for some reason. I guess it's just one of those days. We're taking a trip to my bathroom. because I'm gonna share another product. This one is more of a postpartum product. So I've still been taking my Mary Roots Organics. This one is the pre and postnatal multivitamin gummy. I took these when I was pregnant with him. I would go between this one and then like at the very end I was taking the actual like pill, not the gummy. But something that I wanted to prepare myself for was the postpartum. I was really worried about anxiety and depression because that is something that people in my family struggled with. I struggle with anxiety just on a daily basis, and when we were living in Tennessee, I was on anxiety medication. I talked about that on my channel before, but when we moved to Georgia, I really wanted to not be on it just for personal reasons. Not that there's anything wrong with medication, because I mean, if you need it, you need it. But I really wanted to not be on it, and so I knew when I left the hospital I wanted to kind of like come home with medication just in case, because I did not want to be dealing with postpartum depression, or I wanted something to help combat that. So anyway, my doctor did call in medication for me, but I also bought this Earthly Wellness postpartum tincture, and I love it. I don't have anything to compare it to as far as like struggling really bad with postpartum depression in one pregnancy, because this is my first, but this is the 4-ounce bottle, and you take 10 drops 2 to 3 times per day. So literally I just fill up the dropper about like that much, and I take it 3 times a day, morning, noon, and the night. It's bump friendly, nursing friendly, kid friendly. I mean, it's all good. And it is just basically to help with your hormones. It literally says for women's hormone balance. So, you know, it could even be just for women in general, like maybe even menopause. So this one actually has turmeric, black pepper, dandelion root, catnip, alfalfa, cane-derived alcohol, and filtered water. All organic ingredients. And so for me, when I got this, I was kind of like, I mean, literally, what do I have to lose by trying this? Nothing. And so I tried it, and I really, really liked it so far. You want to try something? Maybe give this one a try. I'm actually going to take it right now because it's almost 1. So anyway, I just fill it up about that full. You do have to be careful. It does stain. I've stained a shirt before with this. When I was reading the reviews on it, it had so many good reviews, but people talked about the taste of it being so strong and gross. I haven't found it to be terrible. I mean, it doesn't taste pleasant, but I mean, you're just taking it really quickly and then you're done with it. So I would recommend trying that one if you just want to give something a go. All right, it's a little bit later. I'm still wearing Beckett Boy, but I'm going to make his bottles. So I talked about this more in depth in my last vlog. We've been doing a combination of breast milk and then formula. We have been using the Bobby formula, and he's taken it really well. I mean, he takes the breast milk better, but I just don't produce enough to do only breast milk. But we've been using the Dr. Bronner's, the glass bottles, and I love these. I feel like they get so much cleaner than the plastic ones, but I am going to have to use plastic when he goes to daycare, unfortunately. I'm gonna go ahead and make 3. One of them is gonna be a breast milk bottle, but I do need to go pump again in just a second, which I don't know how that's gonna work because I don't know that he's going to want to be out of his swaddle. We shall see. And then also, I'm wearing bodysuit. Bodysuit and pumping doesn't really go together very well, but you know, we're gonna make it work. And then something else we do when his bottle's ready, we have been using the Baby Breeza. This was actually my sister's, and they didn't really use it, but we use it every single day. It's just a really quick way to warm up his bottles. Most of the time we just do a cold bottle to a quick warm, and it takes about 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and then I let it sit in here for just a few more seconds so that it gets nice and steamy. It doesn't actually get super, super hot, but it makes it a great temperature for him. I'm about to try and put him in his crib for a little nap. We shall see. So I'm gonna share with you some things that we like to use. So on this little hook, we keep his little hatch to go. We currently have the big hatch in our bedroom, but honestly, we prefer the to go. We used this in the hospital the entire time we were there. We'll even take it in the car with us and attach it to his little car seat. So I would highly recommend if you're thinking about getting the hatch, maybe not even get the hatch, just get the little mini to go. And something else that we have been using is the Swaddle Me Swaddle. This one has the stars. It literally just came from Target. I think Halo and this one are the only two that we've really used, but this one has been amazing. It actually has a double zipper on it, and he gets really cozy in that one. It's just really simple. You're not having to like do anything other than zip them up. Another postpartum favorite for me have been the little Willows. These are like the Silverettes. I know there's a few different brands out there. These are actually a little bit cheaper. I don't know if they're as good as the Silverettes. They've worked really, really well for me. I have used those so many times since giving birth. And then I also have the Earth Mama nipple butter. I think I prefer the Willows. I like them both. I'm about to give Beckett his bottle, so I wanted to share two other things that I've really loved postpartum and just as a first-time mom. We have this mom cozy pillow. Now I will say, I don't really use a pillow as much, but at the beginning I did. Matt and I have both said that we prefer this mom cozy pillow over the boppy pillow if we're going to use it. I mean, I don't use it all the time, but it does make it more comfortable. A lot of times I'll just put him in my arms and feed him, but if I'm using it, I like the mom cozy better. It's not as stiff as the boppy pillow is. It's just a little more squishy and more flexible. And then something else that I've really loved as a first-time mom and being postpartum is the Moms on Call book. I talked about this one in my last video too. In that book, they kind of help you outline what life will be like with your baby, and it goes all the way, it says from 0 to 6 months. The Moms on Call book has helped us a lot with establishing routines with Beckett. He thrives in routine, I thrive in routine. It's just better for both of us. I know some people like a more relaxed viewpoint, but unfortunately that's just not my style. And also, going back to work soon, like we're really not going to be able to do that, and I've been really struggling with that too. Like I go back on, it was going to be Monday, but I got summoned for jury duty. Okay, he just ate. He's sitting in his little swing right this second, but I'm going to share with you my last, I think there's like 3 more things that I wanted to tell you about that were my favorite for just first time mom and then postpartum. So we opted to get the Duna stroller, which I have absolutely loved. I think there are some pros and cons to it, but for me, I feel like the pros have outweighed the cons. For one thing, I love just how versatile it is. It's so easy to go to a store. Yesterday after church, I had been baby wearing him and we wanted to go into this little store, but I didn't want Matt to just go in, like I wanted to go in with him. And so instead of putting him in his little baby carrier, the Duna is so easy because you don't have to get them out. He hadn't even been in his car seat super long. And so we just pop it out of the car, took him into the store, and then popped him right back into the car when it was time to go. So for that, it's super convenient. And also, as someone who was very nervous about buckling a baby into a car seat, I don't know why that specific thing has always like stressed me out. You can buckle them in when it's out like this instead of when you're in, like when it's in the car. That just made it easier for me. It is a little bit on the heavier side. I wouldn't say that would be a deterrent for me because it's not so heavy that I can't lift it. It did make it a little trickier because I had a C-section and I wasn't able to lift anything. So that did make it a little bit harder, but I can still get it in and out of the car pretty easily. We have this blanket. It is the softest baby blanket. My sister actually got it for him. I've been calling it a Serenini, so I'm not sure. I've been calling it a Serenini, but they are the softest little blankets ever. He loves it. And they make one that's a little bit smaller. This is the bigger one, but they make a smaller one that I think they even call it like their car seat or stroller blanket, which I actually think would be perfect because sometimes this one is a little bit big for when we cover him up. but this has been a must for us because of how soft it is. And then the very last thing, I actually forgot to mention this earlier, is I know everybody always says like the Freedom Mama underwear is so fabulous for postpartum, and I 100% would agree. But if you're like me, I didn't know I was gonna have to have a C-section until I was actually there. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But basically there's two different types. There's like just the regular Freedom Mama underwear, but they do have one that's specifically for C-section. And here's just like my take on that. I actually preferred the C-section underwear. Hello, Freddie. Freddie's over here rolling on the floor. I actually preferred the Freedom Mama C-section, like the way that it was cut, I like the cut of those better. But if you're like me, I already had like the regular and I went and got some of the C-section kind, I would say that it doesn't really matter. Like I wore both and was comfortable with both of them, but I would say it was very nice to have. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. Matt and I talked the other day about just some of our favorites that we really loved since having Beck, and I think that was pretty much my list of everything that we've really loved, and some of those were for postpartum too, but you guys will have to let me know if there was anything that you found really helpful for postpartum or even as a first-time mom. But those are some of the things that we really love. But I hope that you guys are having an awesome day whenever you're watching this, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.